This is a lesson for 1-8, multiplying and dividing numbers in scientific notation. So there are rules that you could follow for both multiplying and dividing, but I would strongly recommend just typing them right into the calculator and then converting your answer into scientific notation. Technically, you could multiply the numbers in front of the times 10 and add the exponents, but then you're going to have to adjust the numbers if they're not in the correct form. So I would just suggest skipping that stuff. Just go right into typing them directly how they are into the calculator. Now make sure that for dividing questions, you type in the parentheses. If you don't type in the parentheses for dividing, you will get the wrong answer every single time. So take a look at these multiplying ones. When we go to type it into the calculator, you're going to type it into the calculator exactly how it says. 3.5 times 10 caret button 3 times 2 times 10 caret button 5. So typing them into the calculator, you're going to get the number 7, and then it's going to have 8 zeros after it. So now you need to make that answer into scientific notation. So put a decimal point after your first non-zero number. Write that number down in front of the times 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 places to get to the end. So our final answer is 7 times 10 to the 8th. You're going to do the same thing here. Type it right directly into the calculator, exactly how it is. Now, this one's a little bit weird. When you type this one into the calculator, you get 1.12 times 10 to the 14th power. Right, the number is way too big to fit on the screen, so the calculator will automatically put it into scientific notation for you. Now, if you're using a different calculator, you might not see 1.12 times 10 to the 14th. You might see 1.12 E 14. That E and that times 10 mean the same thing, depending on what calculator that you use. Also remember, on the caret buttons, you might not have a caret button on your calculator. You might have a Y to the X or an X to the Y, depending on what kind of calculator that you're using. In the third one, it doesn't matter if the exponents are negative. You're going to do it the same exact way. Now notice there were two different ways to do multiplying questions. You might have parentheses with a dot in the middle, but you also might have no dot in the middle. You might just have parentheses that are right next to each other. All of those mean times. So type that into the calculator. You get 6,510. Making that into scientific notation, put a decimal point after your first non-zero number. So we have 6.51 times 10, 1, 2, 3 places to get to the end. So we have 6.51 times 10 to the third power. In the last one, in this last one, you're going to get an ugly decimal when you type it into the calculator. You're going to get 0.00027,625. Now, you need to make that into scientific notation. Remember that any answer that starts, any decimal that starts with 0 point is going to be a negative exponent. So putting a decimal point after our first non-zero number would be in between the 2 and the 7. So we have 2.7625. Times 10, I know my exponent's going to be negative because it started off with 0 point. And now I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4 places back. So it's times 10 to the negative 4th power. So again, just type them right into the calculator, exactly how they are for every multiplying question, and then make it into scientific notation. For dividing, same exact thing, all right? The biggest thing here, there are rules that you could follow. You could divide the numbers in front of the times 10 and then subtract your exponents, but then you're going to have to adjust to make sure that it's in the correct form. I would not do it that way. The way that I would do this is to type it right into the calculator and then convert it into scientific notation. This is extremely, extremely important. For dividing questions, you have to type in the parentheses. With adding, with subtracting, with multiplying, you don't have to type in the parentheses, but with dividing, you have to. If you don't type in the parentheses with dividing questions, you will get the wrong answer every single time. So be very, very careful of that. Now, they will try and trick you. There's two different ways to do dividing questions. You might see it written vertically like these first two are, or you might see it written horizontally like these two are. The way that they're trying to trick you is you don't see parentheses there, but they're really there. You have to type those into the calculator. So I would put, for dividing, I would draw in the parentheses right away. So you're going to type this into the calculator. Parentheses, 8 times 10, caret button 6, close your parentheses, divided by parentheses 2.5 times 10 to the third, close your parentheses. When you do that, you get an answer of 3,200. Again, we need to make this into scientific notation, so put a decimal point after our first non-zero number, so in between the 3 and the 2, and then count 1, 2, 3 places to get to the end. So our answer is 3.2 times 10 to the third. Same thing here. Make sure that you type it into the calculator with parentheses. If you don't use the parentheses, you will get the wrong answer. So when you type it into the calculator, you should get 500. Put a decimal point after our first non-zero number. So this becomes 512 times 10 to the second power. Dividing, going side to side, they will put the parentheses there. You need to type them into the calculator again. So when you type in this first one, you get 3,000. To make 3,000 into scientific notation, put a decimal point after the 3. 1, 2, 3 places to get to the end. So it is 3 times 10 to the third power. If you have negative exponents, you do it the same exact way. For this one, on your calculator, you might get 0 point, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then a 1 and 2. That might not fit on your calculator, all right, but that's what the actual answer is. Your calculator might actually just put it right into scientific notation for you if it doesn't fit on the screen, and that would be 1.2 times 10 to the negative 10th. It's a negative exponent because it starts with 0 point. Sometimes you're going to have one number in scientific notation, one number not in scientific notation, and you're going to have to multiply and divide these. Again, what I would do is type them right into the calculator and then convert them into scientific notation. Again, dividing questions, you have to put these parentheses around the scientific notation. If you don't, it will give you the wrong answer every single time. When you type this one into the calculator, you get 360. So that's going to be 3.6 times 10, 1, 2 to the second power. For the second one, it's a multiplying one. You type it right into the calculator exactly how it is. You get 952, and then you have 3, 6, 7 zeros. So that's going to be 9.52 times 10. Decimal point in between the 9 and the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 10 to the 9th power. Go ahead and pause the video. Try these 4 questions on your own. Again, I would type this right into the calculator. When you type it into the calculator, you get 0.6 zeros and then a 6. Making that in the scientific notation, put a decimal point after your first non-zero number, so after the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's not to the 7th, though. It's times 10 to the negative 7th because we started off with 0 point. Don't get tricked in the second one. Again, this is a dividing question. You don't see the parentheses there, but you need to type the parentheses into the calculator. When you do that, you get a 4 and then 6 zeros, so the number 4 million. 4 million in scientific notation is 4 times 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the 6th power. The third one is just a multiplying question. Type it right into the calculator. You get 3, 6, and then you have 7 zeros. So this is 3.6 times 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 10 to the 8th power. For this last one, again, it's a dividing question. You have to type in the parentheses around the scientific notation. If you don't, you will get the wrong answer. When you type that in, you should get 45,000. So 4.5 times 10, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the 4th power. Again, be very careful with multiplying. You don't need the parentheses. With dividing, if you don't type in the parentheses into the calculator, you will get the wrong answer every single time. Use the parentheses if they're there. Or if they're not there, like in that second example, you got to put them there for dividing questions.